back. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Seller Summit. Today, I'm super excited to have Yoni Mazur from Gettier. We're going to talk about a Q4 checklist so you can maximize your sales and profits selling on Amazon. Yoni, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah, excellent. So, as we're doing this right now, we're right in the middle of Q4. So, a lot of people, they may be, super busy with trying to bump up their sales, but at the same time, one of the biggest mistakes is not paying attention to the bottom line, right? Like not knowing your numbers. So that's why I wanted to invite Yoni on to give an overview of, a checklist, line by line, because, with Gettier, he's sitting like on a mountain of big data from all different types of Amazon sellers, 7-figure, 8-figure, beginners, anywhere in the middle. So I think there's a lot of useful information that you guys can take away and implement right now, regardless if you are a 7-figure seller or even if you're getting started. I think there's something for everyone. And then as a special bonus, a lot of people had questions about Chinese New Year, right? We're not just focusing on Q4. We're going to fall off a cliff because China's going to go on holiday for a month. So we're also going to have some time to talk about that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. Okay. So if you can see us because we are live, I mean, that's the nature of it. Can you please type your name and where you're watching from in the chat? So we can, before we get started. So for those of you guys that don't know Yoni, quick intro. Yoni is the COO and co-founder of Gettier. And then he began developing Gettier after successfully operating a $20 million yearly Amazon FBA business, selling fashion brands internationally. So Gettier specializes in e-commerce discrepancy analytics and consulting, and they're a very useful partner for a lot of Amazon sellers, especially if you've been selling some time and if you haven't been paying attention to your reimbursements, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So they specialize in discovering and managing financial and inventory related discrepancies with billions of dollars of transactions managed annually. All right. And then Yoni also comes with military intelligence experience, having served in the IDF Special Navy Intelligence. So be careful around this guy. He's he's not your average econ like skinny guy, So definitely let's before we get started, just some quick shout outs. Thank you, Gary from NYC. We have someone from Shanghai, JR Borgify, awesome. Craig from Australia, and Lewis from Florida. Okay, so as people are coming in, why don't we just go ahead and get started, and I will hand things off to you, Yoni. All right,
You got it. All right, so let me just share the screen here. Hopefully I got the right one. You're going to let me know. And then I'm going to add this little bar here. Yeah, it's all set.
Okay, it looks good. If you guys can see this, can you please say yes in the chat just so we know? And then also, I would really appreciate if you're watching this, could you please give us a thumbs up or hit the like button? I mean, that would help us a lot because we are trying to grow this and help as many people as we can. This will help other people find out about us in the 7-Figure Seller Summit. Okay, without further ado, Yoni, the show is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Gary, so much for the opportunity and for the lovely introduction. I appreciate it. All right. So this presentation is going to be all about Q4, and hopefully it's going to give you a checklist, if you're an Amazon seller, what to be looking out for. So we're going to touch a lot of components. We're going to try to make it high level. So it's streamlined and it's smooth and it's palatable. So it's you guys can really understand what's going on. A little bit about us, Gettier. What's Gettier? Is it Gettier? Gettier doesn't really matter. It's an acronym. It stands for Get Intelligent Data Analytics, Get IDA in short. Essentially, we're a technology company. We help Amazon sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements that they're eligible to get. We consider ourselves a global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements for the simple fact that we can audit all types of Amazon accounts all over the world. So if you sell Amazon US, Amazon Europe, Amazon Australia, doesn't matter. We can help you get money back. We are an award-winning company. We won the Gold Award from the American Business Awards for our dashboard technology. We do have a dedicated team of claim specialists who work on your behalf. A big part of our team are ex-Amazon employees who used to work in the FBA reimbursements department. So we kind of know what we're looking for, how to handle the issues, how to handle all the back and forth with Amazon until we get you reimbursed. We actually track and monitor our recovery rate, and our recovery rate is more than 70%. So for every 4 cases that we can open on your behalf, more than 3 cases will get reimbursed. And we like to make our solutions affordable for sellers of all types or sizes or any life cycle, because our service, our solution does not cost anything upfront. There's no subscription. You can cancel the service at any time. There's no retainer, anything upfront. We only charge a fee from the recovery. We charge 25% fee from the recovery. So let's say we got you $100 back that you didn't have before from Amazon. We're charged 25% of that, which in turn will be $25. Of course, you can find us at Gettier.com. You can, of course, find out more about the Seven Figure Seller Summit online as well. But you can also find us on Seller Central on the Amazon App Store. Okay, what does that mean? It means we're an authorized service provider by Amazon. So here's a little tip for anybody listening or watching this. If you sell on Amazon, you're looking for like a solution or a tool, anything like that, a good place to look at is the App Store, because that's how you know they're vetted by Amazon. So they're not just a random company out of nowhere. When Amazon vets them, they make sure that they're all your data information, your private policy information, it's all in place. So they're essentially, the service provider has a double commitment, has a commitment to you, but also a commitment to Amazon to make sure they're terms of service compliant. All right, so that's a little bit about us. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes. This is our checklist. This is kind of the topics we're going to touch real quickly. We're going to discuss inventory management, listing optimization, finance, logistics, advertising, sourcing, account health, and accounting. So a lot to cover, but we're going to make it high level and hopefully raise a lot of the awareness for you guys to be on the lookout for a certain type of things. So the first thing we're going to touch is inventory management. Right now we're in Q4. This is the time for you guys to shine. Next week is Black Friday, following by Cyber Monday, and that's a firing shot for the whole season. You're gonna have 3 to 4 weeks which are gonna be very intensive, and hopefully you guys will explode the right way and have a tremendous end of the year, and also hopefully you make a lot of revenue and a lot of profit. So your job as an Amazon seller or an online seller actually is to make sure that all your products are active and listed for sale in all the platforms that you designed yourself for. Obviously, it can be Amazon. It can also be if you're in eBay, if you're Walmart, whatever the multi-channels that you want to be at. You have to make sure that all your products are available and listed. Anything that you have in the warehouse that's not listed, or any listing they have an issue with, you got to be ready. Next week is Judgment Day, Black Friday. So your job as a retailer is to make sure that all your inventory, all their products are available to as many consumers as possible. Obviously, Amazon is a dominant platform, but of course, any other platforms if you do participate in other ones. So you got to make sure everything is locked and loaded. So be on the lookout if you sell on Amazon for stranded inventory or suppressed inventory, and especially on FBA status. So what does a stranded mean? It can be that you have an ASIN or a few ASINs that they're stranded, meaning they're not showing as available on Amazon. It could be because of a listing error, pricing error, whatever it is. Make sure you be on the lookout. So when you should go to Amazon Sell Essential, go to inventory, look for stranded inventory. If it's clean, you got nothing there, that's a good start. If you have anything there, you have an ASIN that's available, you have FBA units, or even not even, if you have FBA units and it's not available, fix it now before it's too late. So you're going to be ready just on time. Suppressed inventory is where you might have a missing UPC, a barcode, whatever, or missing image, or something with inside the image. Inside the actual listing is kind of missing some information. So Amazon is basically suppressing it. So if I am a consumer on Amazon and I want to shop and look for your product, I'm going to even put your name of your product. I'm not going to find it. Amazon is really archiving it in like this dark room that nobody can find. So once again, go to Sell Essential, go to inventory, click on suppressed inventory. If you find any of your listings over there, as suppressed, fix it and fix it now. Okay, so if you never heard about this stuff, this is your wake-up call. Take action now and be relentless on this. Okay. All right. So also, try to predict how much stock you need to carry. This might be a bit too late because we're really a week into a week away from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But because this kind of slide was more relevant a week or two ago, when you have a little bit of that extra time to put your stock into FBA. But if you don't do just FBA and you do fulfilled by merchant FBM, of course, your stock is in your warehouse. Make sure that to predict correctly how much stock you need to carry. So if during the year you sell X amount every 30 days, you should probably anticipate to sell 3x or more on Christmas. So if you sell 1,000 units every month from a certain ASIN, you can expect, conservatively to sell 3,000, 4,000. Sky's the limit. So make sure you have enough stock so you can really maximize the potential. So if you have to stock a bit more for the season, make sure you do so you don't miss out on the entire potential of the season. Now, of course, if you get it wrong, you got to ask yourself.
Yoni, sorry, can I
Oh,
interject
absolutely. Go
something?
ahead.
I really love what you said about this, because even though we're a little late for Q4, you have to think about Q1 2021, because we're hitting Chinese New Year. So I will talk a little bit more about predicting how much stock you should carry, not just for Q4 but for Q1, so you don't miss the boat when it comes to Chinese New Year. You won't be out of stock for like 2 months. But that's a really good point. Yeah, let's keep going, Yoni.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so if you get it wrong, and your inventory is going to slide into Q1, can you really financially afford it? Because you're going to get stuck with this inventory. So if you can sell it all in Q1 and you're not cash strapped, you should be good. But if you're stuck with all this inventory, you don't have enough cash to pay your employees or to pay yourself or whatever it is, that's where you might have an issue. So try to predict these two elements correctly, having enough for Q4. But if you bought too much or you overbought, can you handle it in Q1? And try to balance it in terms of cash flow. So that's kind of the inventory management high level component. Let's slide into the next one, listing optimization. Okay, make sure that your copyright and visuals are optimized to the brim. Okay, your images are the best images it can be. Okay, whatever you let me step back a little bit. Well, you worked hard all year to run your account and make sure it's top notch. In the next 40 days, this is the time for you to shine. Everything has to be sparkling, ready, and shiny, and just screaming to the consumers, you know, buy me, add me to cart, and finalize the order and get me and take me. Okay, so another tip on this is if you sell a seasonal version, maybe you should prepare your listings accordingly. Meaning, maybe add a picture where, let's say, your product, is it can be packed with as a nice gift. So maybe you should add an image to your listing for the seasonal, so how it looks like as a gift, right? Because a lot of consumers are shopping for gifts, for Christmas season. So you can add it with some sort of seasonal, elements into your images. And of course, when it comes back to Q1, you can remove those images. So in other words, spice up your listing a little bit, make it more wrapped up, and feel like it's more seasonal. So hopefully that is going to touch the elements for the consumers to buy your product even more. Especially if they're comparing it to other listings where maybe it's the same products, maybe same price range, but another images kind of stimulates their imagination a bit more of what it will feel like or how it will look like when it's presented as a gift. And that's the reason why, be that they're going to get the purchase instead of you. So in case somebody of your competitor is doing it, you have to make sure that you kind of do the same thing. So be on the lookout for that. And try to be creative with your listing, with your visuals, and present your product as a great gift holiday, like we mentioned. It can do wonders. If you can convert, if you usually convert 5% or 10% or 15% from all the traffic that you get into your page, hopefully you're gonna grow because there's gonna be so much demand. But if you got a little bit of spicing on your listing, hopefully you get a few more points, and it's gonna score even a higher result. But you got to keep in mind, in terms of listing optimization, and the whole mindset of the season is that if you really zoom in to what's going on with Amazon on Christmas season, is that the consumers that are coming, they're going to be they're ready for business. Their wallets are ready. They have the full intent to buy now. They're not playing games anymore. It's now, there's no time for window shopping for any of them. So you're going to have much more traffic on your listings, and this traffic is much more serious than ever before. They're ready. They have the money. They waited all year for that moment. That's where your listing has to be optimized and be shiny, so you convert like crazy and really, really blow out the season. All right, finance. Right? Is it worth it? To take a loan maybe and make a bet. Right? So if you know that you can maybe sell 3x, 4x, 5x more inventory, can you afford it? If you can't afford it, you might have to kind of consider taking a loan. All right, so you make that extra investment to buy that inventory and hopefully blow out and make a crazy amount of profit. So no, this is an Excel exercise. You got to open up an Excel chart, look at how much cash you got, what kind of loan financing can you get, how much is it going to cost you, and see if you can really afford it. Okay, and when you're balancing options, because there's so many options out there these days, you gotta maybe decide if it's gonna be long-term debt or short-term debt. Okay, that's available to you. If you take a loan for the next 12 months, it might be easier for you than 90 days. It all depends. But if you take 12 months, it might be a higher interest, right? If it's shorter, it might be less interest. So you have all these financial options. Run it with an Excel file. Anybody that sells on Amazon and sells online should be very, very data driven. And also when it comes to finance, play with all the numbers, because cash flow management is really vital. If you make a wrong bet that chokes you, it can become a disaster. If you take a loan, you took all this inventory and something happened along the way and you choked, and now you're stuck with all this inventory and all this debt, and you can't sell the inventory, turn it into cash and pay back the loan, it might be a disaster. So of course, it's recommended to take a loan if you can really if you know your numbers, you can make an educated bet on them and earn more because of it, because you leverage. You took somebody else's money to get more inventory, to generate more sales, generate more profit, pay all your debts back, and keep all the profit to yourself. That's kind of what we're trying to get here. So in order for you to achieve that, make sure you do it in a calculated way where it's a safe bet that makes sense with the numbers. Okay. For example, if you were a private label seller, your brand is strong, you never had issues in the past, it's a safer bet than if you were to be a private label seller that maybe doesn't have a trademark, maybe has some IP infringement issues, or maybe if you're a reseller, you're reselling other brands and you may get suspended, or your listings might be deleted, or all these kind of things where it kind of ruins the flow of you being able to generate sales. So that's things to consider as well. So make sure to handle your cash carefully. Okay, better safe than sorry. So you make these calculations in a very, very professional way. So hopefully it's going to benefit you and your whole organization. All right, logistics. All right. Of course, if you do your own logistics, you have your own warehouses, that's good. If you're in the market and you work with 3PL, third-party logistics centers, secure a reputable, 3PL. This year, more than ever before, logistics has become a crazy, tremendous challenge for many, many sellers because there's so much pressures on 3PL centers right now. So make sure to get a reputable, a 3PL center, and don't be cheap, because looking for the cheaper price can cost you, a lot of money. Because if they're slow to react, they're not really good quality service. They don't really understand how to, package and ship your products to Amazon, because they do packaging for other types of marketplaces or something like that. It might be an issue for you. So make sure they have a good reputation for Amazon, for e-commerce, and even if they cost a little bit more than other who are cheaper, that's okay. All right. So paying a premium for logistics during prime time is worth it. So if you pay premium, you're going to get everything on time, perfectly managed, is going to be worth a fortune for you. Because if you have any hiccup and you can't deliver things on time and you're losing sales, then it's going to cost you much, much more than that little premium. Instead of paying, I don't know, 80 cents a unit, pay 85 cents a unit, or even $1 a unit for whatever the 3PL is charging you. Pay the premium. This is prime time. This is not regular year season where you can experiment, maybe try this 3PL, that 3PL. Any 3PL that you try, make sure it's reputable, and even if it costs a little bit more than the cheaper ones. And of course, you can try to maybe rely on a few 3PLs and not just a single one, just to be on the safe side. So even if you got the most reputable, the best 3PL, this is the Corona year, and let's say they're in the East Coast or West Coast, and there's a shutdown because of Corona. And if you have a couple more 3PLs that you work with as backup that already has your inventory, that can keep the business running, either by shipping to FBA or shipping your products to the consumers, that will be probably a better structure for the sellers who are able to do so. In any case, make sure to have an FBM, fulfilled by merchant, backup option for whatever craziness that might happen with FBA, during this crazy year. All right. What does that mean? It means that, whatever, we all know that this year for a number of weeks, Amazon shut down the ability to ship to FBA on certain categories, because they wanted to focus on sellers who can ship products that are in the PPE category, which is personal protection equipment. So for a few weeks it was shut down. So many sellers all of a sudden weren't able to ship into FBA. They were shocked. So if the remedy for that is have the ability to have FBM, fulfilled by merchant, either with your own warehouse or a 3PL that is able to store your products. When the orders come in, you ship it from your warehouse directly to the consumer. Okay, and you keep generating that sale. So that was a huge, tremendous lesson for many, many sellers out there. And of course, after Amazon reopened those categories, they still kind of kept on the ASIN level restrictions. So you can only ship maybe 200 units per ASIN or stuff like that. So that was also painful for many sellers. That's why having a backup of FBM is really, really important. If you're using FBA, of course, ship early, ship now. If you ship now, it's probably not going to hit on time for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but hopefully it will be on time for the Christmas season. So if you have anything to keep shipping, ship. But if you have more than one Amazon account, I use it to ship more. What does that mean? So let's say you have two Amazon accounts. and for one ASIN you can only ship 200 units. If you have a second Amazon account, use it to ship 200 more units, so you have 400 units in FBA as opposed to one. Some sellers have that combination, most don't, but if you do, it's a little tip on that. And if you need, you can consider, I don't work with these guys, but they're up and coming. It's called Deliver.com with double R. Essentially, Deliver.com is like it's like FBA. You can ship your products into Deliver.com. They store your products. Then, as you get orders from Amazon, Walmart, your website, wherever you want to sell, they ship it out to the consumers. So they're hot, they're up and coming. So that also it's an option for you. So you can have your own track with FBA, but then your own warehouse, a 3PL, or Deliver. Deliver is essentially a 3PL, but they're spread out all over the country, and they give you that FBA muscle as if it was FBA, but it's Deliver. All right, advertising.
Yoni, could we ask a quick
Absolutely,
question, please? Yeah. So Easy said, so one can do FBA and FBM for the same product.
Yeah, definitely, sure. So when you create, we have an ASIN, right? So when you create an ASIN, it usually has an SKU, right? So one SKU you can keep as FBA, and then go to your add inventory, list your ASIN again, and just give it a different name. Give it the name of the SKU. Then what you can do is dash FBM. So you know that's for FBM, and the other SKU is for FBA. So the one that you have an FBA has the FBA product. It's all good. But imagine you sold out, it got to 0, and then the FBM SKU is still there, and it shows that it has, I don't know, 50 units or 100 units, then it backs you up. Then the FBM basically gets the buy box, and that's what's available for the consumers. So if you look at the top sellers, that's what they usually have. They always have a backup SKU for FBM. So you sell FBA, and then there's always a backup, a secondary SKU for FBM that's there. So once the FBM ever hits on 0 for whatever reason, it comes in, it kicks in as a backup. Then the orders that you generate with FBM, you're gonna have to make sure to ship out to the consumers. It's legal, it's terms of service compliant, it's absolutely fine. You're selling the same product for the same price. Essentially, there's two logistics combinations that you have. One of them is relying on FBA, another one is relying on you or your 3PL, whoever you're using. It's perfectly fine. The top sellers, that's what they do, and you should be able to do it as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Yoni, and thanks, Easy, for that question. Let's keep going.
Yep. All right. So advertising, right? So of course, this is a lot of. Imagine you're in the NBA playoffs. Stadium is packed. It costs a lot of money to advertise. Why? The eyes of everybody are on the game. So that's what's happening right now. The eyes of all the consumers are in the basketball court, then the basketball stadium. They're all looking at it. So that's why you need to be prepared for an uptick with ad spend. It's so because you want to advertise in that court, get the eyeballs of the consumers on your ads. It's just going to cost more. It's premium time. So it can easily be 3x or more. But be prepared to spend, because hopefully you get 3x or more sales as well, and hopefully at the bottom line you'll generate more sales and more profit than you would in regular season. Also make sure you can afford betting high on your main keywords. Increase your bids on long tail keywords. So what does that mean? So obviously your main keywords are the ones that that drive the traffic and convert. Be relentless, make sure to secure those, but don't be afraid to bid, spread your money out a little bit with some long tail keywords, because there's so much traffic that is going to be coming in, and it's so willing and able to buy and purchase from you. So even some random keywords might bring a good conversion, surprisingly good conversion, because there's so much intent on the consumer side to make a purchase. So don't be afraid to bet if you can afford it on some long tail keywords that seem to you in regular season obscure, weird, whatever. But during Christmas season, a lot of surprises. Because the shoppers and eyeballs will be everywhere. Make sure you get as much exposure as you can, and that your listing is fully prepared to convert by being optimized to the brim. So basically, obviously, you're going to spend a lot of money on advertisement, and it goes back to the listing optimization. If you're listing, the copyright is not good, it's awkward, the images don't really make sense, your enhanced brand content doesn't make sense, that's going to be an issue for you. So you got to make sure that your whole ecosystem is bolted together in such a way where it's streamlined, it's perfect. Your ads come up, you're spending as much as you need to spend on ads, you're getting that traffic, and because you're competing, you're not letting your competition get any of that traffic. And once your traffic comes into your listing, it just converts, it just buys, because everything looks and feels and expresses itself perfectly. So that's kind of the mission that we're trying to create here, where it's all a smooth ride, down all the funnels for you to generate the sales and hopefully make a lot of profit. All right, so this is sourcing, right? Chinese New Year warning we have for you guys, and this is where Gary is gonna kind of step in. And before, just gonna touch a few notes, and Gary is gonna expand a bit more on this. So, of course, if you source from China, you need to be placing your orders no later than Thanksgiving Q1, right? So for Q1 2021, so you got maybe just a few days, maybe a week or two to place your orders in. So you got to hurry up. Because the Chinese New Year's, it starts late January until late February. So the time is to act is now. So if you make it a great Q4 and you would like to keep the flow going of your sales and the whole flow of inventory coming in, make sure not to stock out by sourcing late from China. That's kind of the key message that we have here. And now Gary is going to step in and give us some more information about this part.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much, Yoni, for the nice intro. And I know a lot of people had some questions about Chinese New Year best practices and how to time my purchase and shipment of inventory so I can get the shipment sent to Amazon before Chinese New Year. I know sometimes people are always late to send their units on time to Amazon. That's only after Chinese New Year. So, many of the goods end up in the warehouse much later. It can cause losses, right, if you're out of stock. So I really wanted to just share with you guys about Chinese New Year best practices. So Chinese New Year in 2021 is going to be on February 12th. Okay, so it's right around Valentine's Day, middle of February. But in reality, officially it's 1 week. It's a 1 week holiday in China, but nobody takes only 1 week. In reality, it's going to impact factories closures up to a month. Okay, so realistically, I would plan for a 1 month shutdown because these factories, if you look at the workers, they're not from the local town that the factory is in. Many times they live somewhere like in the inner part of China, or they live in the northern part of China. And this is the only time that they can go home, because Chinese New Year, in terms of the tradition, it's almost like Thanksgiving. It's like the time that the family reunites. The kids go back to the family, to the parents. They sit down, they have a big meal. There's a lot of eating. There's no turkey, but there's a lot of food. Okay, so in that respect, it's kind of similar to the US in terms of Thanksgiving. It's like a holiday, but the holiday is a lot longer. So again, the key takeaway is expect factories to shut down for up to a month. The best case scenario is if you can place an order right now in November. Okay, if you can close that purchase order, ideally by the end of the month, that would be ideal, so that you don't cut the line too close. The reason is because, for example, if your supplier has a 35-day lead time on orders, okay, that's in the typical scenario. But before Chinese New Year, the factories are slammed with orders. Okay, many of these companies, not just Amazon sellers, like the Walmarts, the Targets, they're placing their own orders. So these guys, they're like really up to capacity. So even though they promise a 35-day delivery, stuff happens. It could get dragged out to 40 days to 50 days. So you don't want to cut it too close when the factory actually shuts down and your shipment is not done. Okay, because if that happens, that means if your order can't ship out before Chinese New Year, it's going to sit in the factory for up to a month. Okay, so that's point number one. Try to place your orders by the end of November, so you have a buffer. Okay, and this year, you might be thinking, COVID with the pandemic, is this going to have an effect? All sources, indications, my contacts on the ground is that it's going to be the same long holiday as before. Okay, so but considering right now, most all of the factories, they're full with orders, so it might it's a good idea to place your order in early so you don't get behind all those other orders. Okay, and if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to drop it in the chat right now. I'm happy to get into that. But on a high level, definitely place your orders early. And in terms of inventory management, Yoni brought up this good point. You don't want to just plan for Q4 and then Q1, try to plan in January, because if you do that, the order is not going to ship out in time, because, Chinese New Year factories close in February, and then they probably won't come back until end of February or March. And then if they don't start working on your order until March, it's going to take another 30 days, and your order doesn't ship out until the end of March. You don't get it until April. Basically, you lose out on all of Q1. Okay, this has happened to many people. It's happened to some of my products before. If I get like an unexpected bump, with one of my first products selling Apple Watch accessories, several years ago when Apple Watch first launched, we sold Apple Watch bands, and then we were mentioned on one of the big sites, 9to5 Mac. And then it was right in February, and then it just suddenly, spiked our orders, right? And which is awesome. But at the same time, we sold out so quick. The factory was in the middle of Chinese New Year, and we couldn't place an order until the end of February. So we lost out on a couple months order. So, the big takeaway is definitely plan ahead, inventory management, so you don't run out of stock for Chinese New Year. Okay. So hopefully that helps you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Or if Yoni, you have any questions to clarify about Chinese New Year. But on the whole, place your orders by the end of November. Don't wait till last minute, and then just account for Q1 so you don't go out of stock, because factories will not be back until late February, early March. And then even when they come back, a lot of times there's a ton of turnover. Okay, the factories at the end of the year, Chinese New Year, like their financial year is actually based on Chinese New Year. So many of the factory bosses, they withhold their worker bonuses until the Chinese New Year. That way, the workers are inclined to stick around even if they're not happy. But once they collect their bonus, they go home. Many of the workers never come back to work. Okay, they find like a better job, or they just work in like a barbershop or a restaurant, or they get married, in their hometown. They never come back. So after Chinese New Year, it's kind of like what I call a hangover. It's like a big party, like New Year's, and next day you're hungover. Okay, the factory is hungover because many of the workers don't come back to work, so they're scrambling. They got to find new hires. They got to train these new hires. Okay, and then also with the supply chain, many of the shipping companies, and also many of the raw material suppliers, they may not be back. So, if you're selling like, T-shirts, the factory may be back to work, but maybe like the cotton supplier or like, the button supplier, they're not back yet. So, with all these different links in the supply chain, if one of them is missing, that's going to cause delay. So after Chinese New Year, realistically, it's not going to be as a smoothly operating machine as before. Okay. So, those are the biggest takeaways that I like to share with you guys. All right, Yoni, any questions, or anyone else any questions about that?
That was a great insight. I never thought about all these elements that affect. Now you kind of give it the behind the scene, what all the effects behind the scene of why things are sluggish, and makes so much sense. And I have a bit more appreciation to why it's happening, as opposed to just being mad or being frustrated. You just got to keep in mind you're dealing with humans and a society. And this is what and they're trying to celebrate, and they deserve to celebrate. And like you mentioned, it's a hangover. So if somebody celebrated, it's having a hangover. You gotta be patient. Because that's what's it's gonna hold them up, I guess, for the rest of the year. So just be on the lookout for that. Be patient. Be prepared on time. Play your cards correctly, so you get a good momentum going at Q4, and continue that momentum. Your best sellers rank, all that stuff, flowing into Q1, and hopefully by when things settle, things will be smooth again with handling sourcing.
Definitely. And we have a couple of quick questions. Yoni, do you want to tackle them now, or do you want to wait till the end?
So go ahead. Let's ring it up real quick.
Okay. So Mowing Inc. has a question. If one seller has 2 or 3 accounts, can they list products with the same brand?
So yeah, I mean, if you're a reseller, but if you have your own brand, some brands that might be gated or restricted, so that's a different issue. But on a general level, when you see when I shop on Amazon, I see for a certain brand, I see a bunch of sellers. So that's kind of what we're talking over here. So yeah, if that's kind of the direction there. Yeah, that's as far as I know, as far as I see. But I'll tell you what Amazon does not like. If you have 2 accounts and you're putting the same ASIN, and you're playing pricing games where one ASIN you're putting out for $1,000, so it looked really expensive, and then the other one is putting in $20 because that's really kind of the price you're looking at. That's when they don't like it. You make on a psychological level, you make it look like it's a very appealing offer where you really were supposed to sell for like $20. So as long as the intention is honest, is good, that you want to sell, if both of them are selling for $20, and even if somehow they're both connected to you, but all you're trying to do is have the ability to offer your product at the best price possible, and you want to have the ability to have your products on on FBA, stored at FBA. That's a little hack you can do just so you can just reach more into FBA, not to do anything else. But of course, if you don't have multiple accounts, you have just one account, your ASIN is limited to 200 units, you ship the 200 units, and then you wait till you can ship the next round, or you just set yourself with an FBM. That's kind of the message that we're trying to bring here.
Excellent. Okay. And next question, easy. Ideally, we should have enough inventory to last from October through February, correct? What are your thoughts, Yoni?
Agreed, and that's why if it's a little bit of a stretch for some, that's why it goes back to the funding. So if you cannot afford it, then you might have to consider taking funding, and if you do so, make sure you do it responsibly. But yeah, kind of the idea is almost like prepare yourself for 2 quarters, which is a stretch by all means. It's a stretch because Q4 is thick. Hopefully Q4 will be explosive for you guys. So that's a lot to take on a regular season. But now that you have COVID and you have Chinese New Year's, all these elements coming in, you got to prepare for Q1. It makes it challenging. But that's kind of the main idea. If you wanted to oversimplify things, yeah, we're telling you gear up for 2 quarters. Yeah. If you're sourcing from China, if you're sourcing domestically, different story.
Right. And if I can just add to that, Yoni, I would also remind Easy that because if you are only planning until through February, and then let's say you're out of stock, like at the end of February, Chinese New Year, like if you wanted to place an order so that it landed in March, if you try to do that in January, it would be too late, right? Because they're going to be off for a month. So I may want to consider, March, like enough inventory for March, whether you want to place like a big order or, separate 2 small orders, for Q4 and Q1. I would extend it into at least March, because if you only plan for February, I mean, you're probably not gonna be able to land anything, at the end of February, because unless you place an early order, if that makes sense. So I would actually extend this to at least March, so you're not out of stock. All right.
Got it. Two more tips on this. So if you're gonna buy a lot more than usual, try to get a concession and negotiate for a better price, because you're just buying more, right? The more you buy, the less you pay, right, per unit. So hopefully, if you can get a discount from your supplier, that might be able to help you get better margin or offset financing costs if you took a finance. So that's one option. Just get a discount, or instead of a discount or a better rate, just tell them extend terms. So if I need to pay COD, give me maybe 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever you can, concession from the factory. So you take up upon yourself a bit more inventory than usual. So hopefully by the end of the cycle, they're going to get a bigger order. They're going to make more profit. But you both help each other kind of make this bigger deal happen. So this happens day and night with many players. So that's also available for you to consider. Negotiate for better price or negotiate for better terms.
Yes. Okay. That's a great question. And then Easy had a follow-up question, considering the Amazon warehouse fees, which are considerably increased during Q4. So a 3PL is generally less. What do you think, Yoni?
Agreed. So yeah, just to keep in mind, Amazon FBA is expensive. You want to utilize FBA in such a degree where it comes in and out. You don't want to sit anything on FBA because you're going to pay 10 or 20 times more than any conventional fulfillment center or a 3PL center to store your goods. Now with the IPI score, it's getting more strict than ever before, and during November, December, they charge even more premium. It can be a really big margin eater. So do yourself a favor. When you utilize FBA, you be efficient with it. Don't try to expect to sit on your goods with FBA. It's not a good place to put your product and just keep it there. It's very expensive. So try to have a good flow. If you're shipping directly from supplier, let's overseas, run it to FBA and you have a good routine going, that's great. But if you now you need to buy more because you want to prepare for Q4 and Q1 and you can't really keep it with Amazon FBA, ship it to somewhere in the States domestically. So a good 3PL that can sit on it, and then either drip it into FBA as you go along, but also hopefully that 3PL can do FBM. So even if you ever stock out an FBA for whatever reason, you're gonna keep shipping your products through FBM. FBM is okay. This year proved that FBM is still strong into the game. It helps a lot, and when everybody kind of stocks out, you have that FBM position. You're killing it, just as if you were to have FBA, because there's so much demand out there, and supply is scarce. So you're going to be a big winner whether you do FBA or FBM. As long as you have the product and there's more demand than supply, you're going to be good.
Excellent, 100%. And so we should always think 6 months out. I mean, ideally we should plan even for like the whole year if possible. But yeah, I mean, especially right now because given Q4, the spike, and also the Chinese New Year, the shutdown. I mean, it would be smart to plan at least 6 months. What do you think, Yoni?
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
These are extraordinary times. You got to think ahead. You got to think smart. This is gonna be a good exercise for many of you. And if you play well, it means you're becoming a pro player. And then if you can really plan years, 1 year ahead, nothing's gonna stop you. If you have that ability, capacity, you're in a very strong position.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for your question. Easy. Let's keep going, Yoni. I know you still have a lot to cover.
Yeah, two or three more, I think. So account health, right? This is kind of the unpleasant stuff that can happen on Amazon. So if you have any Amazon account health notifications/warnings, make sure to clear them all up as soon as possible. What does that mean? Any complaints that comes in, you need to have your account or your information ready and available. So somebody says you're selling an authentic, you have invoices ready or trademark information as soon as possible. Don't say, "Oh, what just happened to me? Why are these notifications coming to me?" Or these, it can have an ASIN suspension or account suspension, whatever comes your way. Hopefully not. You have to be ready. So doesn't matter your size. Doesn't matter how many years you're selling on Amazon. Amazon is notorious for just falling out of the blue. The skies are falling. They can either suspend your ASIN or remove it or delist it or deactivate your account. Why? Because who knows? It can be complaints as used item sold as new, IP infringement out of nowhere, inauthentic. Who knows, right? Who knows what it can be? And it can be honest reviews of customers that Amazon takes it the wrong way and shuts you down your account, or it could be malicious. Maybe your competition is attacking you. You're doing extremely well with your listing and you're selling, you're killing it. They're not doing as good. They say, okay, what can we do to eliminate our competition? Buy products or something and, make all these false complaints about you. Amazon immediately will shut you down so they can work with you to figure it out. But in the meantime, you're shut down, you're losing sales. So be ready for that. If that ever happens, you have your information ready. Say, I own the trademark. I'm not violating anybody's intellectual property. These other items are authentic. They're not fake or anything. So you need to have the awareness. You have to have all the documentation ready if needed, your plan of action ready if needed, and act quick. Okay. So you don't want to get into an ASIN or account suspended due to a cloud of complaints on your account. Sometimes what happens is you get one or two or three complaints, and then like baseball, 3 strikes and you're out. So that can happen really quickly on Christmas because you get so much volume. So if you every once in a while you get complaints and you kind of fade away or you kind of take it slowly, don't be react fast because you might have one day, 2, 3 complaints in one day, or 2 complaints today, another complaint tomorrow, boom, you shut down. So that's why you got to kind of be quick to respond. So come into Q4 with a clean slate. Be ready to act fast as needed. So hopefully you're gonna pass any bump along the way as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. I wish you guys not to ever experience this, but many do so, and the ones who are prepared are the ones who get affected the least. Accounting. Okay, Q4 about to close, the books for the whole year. So conduct an inventory count of your FBA inventory and in-house inventory and even inventory under production. Okay, so you're closing your balance sheet. You want to close your assets. So in assets, obviously you have cash, but you also have inventory. For a retailer, inventory is a major component of asset. So if you chart on count for inventory, don't forget you have inventory in FBA, inventory in your warehouses, or also inventory in production. So you give the supplier or the factory 20% up front, 25% up front. You paid it. That money is in products, is in production. So don't forget that. All right. So you have a clean balance sheet and you understand what's going on. So you can calculate your profit and loss. Amazon will provide you with an end of the year statement, a 1099. So make sure so when you go to Sell Essential, there's tax documents and forms. Make sure to download that. Okay. And notify your accountant so they can really prepare their year for you and set up your tax return. And also make sure to expense your interest payment if you took a loan. So remember we talked about finance. If you took a loan and you're paying interest, that is deductible. So what does that mean? That money you paid in interest, you're going to get a tax write-off, right? So instead of paying that money to the government, you essentially paid it to the lender. So one way or another, it's a win for you because you got somebody else's money, you generate more sales and more profit, and the cost that it cost you to get that money, basically the interest, that money wasn't yours to begin with. That was the government's money because you're supposed to pay taxes on it. So instead of paying that money with taxes to the government, you paid it to that institution that gave you the money that helped you get more revenue and more profits. So smart sellers who understand finance understand those elements. And so if you did take an interest, if you paid interest because you took a loan, make sure to expense it. Don't forget it's a deductible. Okay, so we prepared a little bit of free tools for you guys if you need to prepare your profit and loss. Here's a free template. You just visit gettier.com/profit. You're gonna get a free template where you can really put all your numbers in, and you're gonna be able to structure all your business costs and marketplace costs, and hopefully know your numbers really down to the bone and making sure that you're profitable at all times. In addition to that, we also have a free ebook available for you guys. If you just visit online.gettier.com/en-us/amazon/income-0. This is kind of a mouth breaker, but Gary is going to have these two links available for you in the notes of the video, so you can just click in and go. So this free ebook is basically how to read Amazon's income statement, because Amazon's numbers can be very convoluted, very vague. That ebook kind of breaks it all down, makes it cohesive for anybody to learn and understand. So that free ebook is available for you. If you need, I would even recommend downloading that ebook and send it to your accountant. If your accountant don't fully understand Amazon, or your bookkeeper don't really understand Amazon, give them that ebook. It helps you understand the numbers behind Amazon reports. Okay, so you got these two resources available. You got free profit or loss template, gettier.com/profit, and the free ebook, which Gary will have in the show notes. Right, Gary?
Yes, we just put the free ebook, the link to get that in the notes, so you guys can click through to get that. And I believe we also have a special offer for everyone.
Yeah,
that's
we're
watching
gonna get to
today,
that
right?
very, very soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna get to that
Okay.
very soon. I don't want to
Okay.
spoil the beans yet, but yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully these free resources will be of service to you guys and help you close the year, understand all the numbers. It's really critical that you really do understand your numbers intimately. You know how much. Basically, the simplest way to put it is three things in mind: how much am I generating in revenue? What is my cost of doing business? And what is my bottom line profit? If you have this triangle always in front of your eye, that's your compass. You always, that's gonna always make sure that you're heading north and you're not going sideways. Sales, cost of doing business, profit. You're all working for profit. You're not working for sales. Becoming a seven-figure seller summit means nothing if you're losing money. If you become a seven-figure seller summit, congratulations. But you only get that congratulations, and it trickles down all the way down to your pocket in profit. Okay, because I know many Amazon revenue millionaires, but at the end of the day, they're losing money. Why? Paying for this, overpaying for that, da, da, da. Nothing trickles down, and they're just digging out a hole to themselves financially. So be on the lookout for that. So to help sellers make more profit, another viable option is auditing the Amazon account for FBA discrepancies, which in turn can be provided as reimbursements. So to be frank, this is kind of the bread and butter that what we do, Gettier. That's what we help sellers with. We're gonna when we connect to an Amazon seller's account, we go back 18 months. We download all the data. We go through all the data and see if anything got lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, or got overcharged. And if we find something that happened, we open a case. Our team actually open cases on your behalf to make sure you get that money back. Okay, so some high-level statistics. The FBA discrepancies can range between 1 to 3% from your annual FBA revenue. So if you do $1 million on FBA annually, the discrepancy rate can range between 10 to 30,000. So our mission is to make sure that we get everything that you're eligible to get from that 10 to 30,000, and it's up to you, the seller, to maximize this opportunity, because Amazon is going to automatically reimburse you for whatever they find, but they can do so in 30 days. But after 30 days, if you look into their terms of service, they tell you, the seller, need to audit us, and anything that we missed and left behind, you need to catch, open a case, and we'll pay you for it. And if you don't do it, it just goes away. You lost all that money. Okay, and they give you 18 months. That because after 18 months, for most types of issues, if you don't take the money or audit for it and open a case, it's gonna fade away and you're gonna lose. So do not miss out. And of course, if you find the issues, you open the cases with Amazon. Make sure to reply to cases when Amazon is asking for more documentation. Sometimes you open a case, Amazon is going to ask you for a proof of delivery, a bill of lading, a packing slip, an invoice, whatever it is. Make sure to read actually and reply to Amazon when they're asking for more information, because the moment they ask you for that information, it means that they want to prove the case for you and pay you a lot of money. It can be a few hundred or a few thousands of dollars, but they won't do so before you give them the information. So maybe be on the lookout for that. Of course, if it's too much of a headache for you because you have better things to do, there's solutions out there that help with this. And it happens to be Gettier us. We're one of them. We'll be happy to help you anytime that you need. And here we prepared a small case study for you to understand the positive impact of good FBA auditing. So this is a real case study from one of our clients. They did about $18 million in sales. They sold about 300,000 units, of which 9,000 units got affected. Things got lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared. So it's close to 3% discrepancy rate. We were able to help them get $151,000 back in FBA reimbursements, which pushed the bottom line by about 11%, 10.92%. And why? Because before Gettier, their profit was 1.3 million, and when we added 151,000, it pushed the bottom line by about 11% more. So every dollar that you get back in reimbursement goes straight into your bottom line and boosts it up. Okay. Now here's a Q4 alert for you. All right. Because if you want to sell your business, your Amazon business, because there's a big wave going on right now with all these organizations that have raised tens or hundreds of millions of dollars to buy Amazon brands. It's a big wave that's coming. You got Thrasio as an example. You got Recon Brands. You got Boosted Commerce. Many are raising tons of money all the time and buying Amazon businesses. So what they do is they buy anybody that is going to buy your Amazon account. Essentially, they're buying your earnings, your EBITDA, your earnings before tax, interest, and amortization. So what does that mean? It means that every dollar that we're going to get back for you is going to be worth $3 or $4 or $5. Okay, essentially, because it's going to go back to your profit lines. And if you have another extra dollar in your profit, they're going to pay you $3 or $4 or $5. Depends on the multiple that you're going to get when you're selling your Amazon business. Okay, so it's very powerful. So essentially, this 151,000 will become 451,000 or more if the seller is about to sell their account. All right. So also, if you just bought an Amazon business and this business never really got all the money that they're able to get, you can connect to Gettier. We're gonna go back 18 months and get you all this money back that essentially whoever sold you the business left behind, and that's gonna improve your ROI, your return on investment. You're gonna get the money that you invested into the business much quicker. So there's a lot of power that's available out there with FBA auditing and getting reimbursements. So if anybody wants to try it out and you need a bit more incentive to try us out, first of all, it's free to join. But beyond that, we prepared a special offer. If you just visit online.gettier.com/7FSS, essentially you're going to activate the offer, which will give you $400 of free FBA reimbursements. It means that the first $400 that we're going to give for you in reimbursements from Amazon will be absolutely free. You're not going to pay a penny. So no matter what, you're going to have $400 more, in your pocket. If you have a good experience, you would like to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you want to leave after you got your $400, you can leave as well. Not an issue. We're really here to help and make sure that to empower you. Hopefully, you're going to get all this money back into your business that you never had before, and you're not even expecting it. You're going to take that money and invest more into your business. You can invest more into your product line or buying more for Q4 and Q1 of the coming year because you need more capital, more money, or just buy yourself a nice car. Whatever it is that you want to do, money always helps, and it makes you. A lot of money does not make you happy, but it certainly does help making smarter and more educated decision once it's available. Okay, so you're not making decisions out of stress or pressure. All right, and that's it. That's pretty much kind of the end of the road for us today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can email me directly at yonim@gettier.com, or just visit gettier.com. There's a contact us page. There's a chat box. We have a very friendly staff who is ready and available to help. And yeah, that's pretty much where we are at this point.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Yoni, for the great insights today. And I think it was super helpful. And thanks everybody for their questions. And let's get to Q&A. We have a couple minutes left. And if anybody else has a question, please type in the chat because we have to end at the end of the hour. Okay. Easy had an earlier question. When you say Amazon is shutting me down, suspending me, delisting me, is it a bot or actual person that's doing this?
I think most likely it's a robot. It's an algorithm that's shutting you down. And because, let's say there's 3 complaints that come into the system. By default, the algorithm will say, okay, red flag, shut it down. Send them this notification that that the listing got removed or the account got suspended, and then they're going to give you instructions on what to do. It usually involves a plan of action or explanation. Why do you think this happened? Are you going to prevent it? All that good stuff. And so once you submit an appeal with all your plan of action, that's when a human finally gets it, and they call them investigators, and they're going to try to investigate if you really know what happened to your account and what are you saying about it. Does it make sense? Do they need more information? And if it's all checks out, they'll reinstate you. If you have all your ducks in line, they're going to reinstate you. If they don't understand what you're saying, They don't think that you understood what even happened. They're going to tell you, we need more information, more information. If you keep just being locked in that circle and not breaking it, they're going to tell you, that's it, your account is suspended, deactivated, we might not even reply to you anymore. In other words, it's you're done. You're done with us. So that can happen. It happens to so many others. That's why you always have to have everything very organized. You got to play always honest. You're not stepping on anybody's toes with intellectual property, for example, or it's not a fake, it's authentic, all that good stuff. This is the foundation to everything that we do. But sometimes it's worth mentioning that that's an important fundamental, that everything is really, as we say, my neighborhood kosher. I think, Gary, I lost you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Harrison and my wife are back, so I apologize if there's any background noise. It's almost lunchtime here, but one of our audience members had a really good question that they pre-submitted. If there is one top tip you would recommend to a newbie that will provide the most benefit in terms of profit on Amazon, what would it be?
To make profit, you got to generate sales. To generate sales, and a good amount of them, I think all you have to do is really listen to the heart and wishes of your end consumer. So you got to build this avatar. Who are you offering your products to? What is it going to help them with? What are you solving? What kind of issue are you solving? So as long as you have that in your mind, and you're always going to give them the solution at the best price possible with the best experience possible, and there's a lot of demand out there in the market, as long as you have these fundamentals in front of you, and it's very clear to you that it's there, everything else will follow. So then your next mission is just to reach out to them, and luckily Amazon is a great platform to reach consumers. So you build your listing, you build your pricing, your message, all that good stuff, but as long as your product really touches the heart of the soul of what the purpose is for the consumer that they want to achieve from it, you'll be on the right path for success. Of course, make sure there's demand. If you're doing all that work and there's only like 500 units that you can sell around the year, and it's not enough income for you, it's not enough to have passion. Your passion has to be connected to something that is really very large in demand.
Excellent. Great question. Thanks for that. And we had another question about pricing. What should my product be selling for on Amazon to maximize profit for the end of the year holidays?
To be fair, to be honest, not that I'm saying it's good to gouge or anything, of course not, but there's going to be so much demand, and it's going to be a big question for the whole marketplace to know, is there going to be enough supply to meet the demand? Because we do expect historical levels of sales and crazy demand because of the results of the pandemic. Consumers, they don't even want to think about going to the store. So where are they going to put their resources into? Where are they going to start shopping, or focus on shopping online? And it was large and crazy and record breaking in 2019. 2020 should be even more ferocious. So what does it mean? It means that don't be too quick on giving away your products. This is the time for you to shine and make that margin. So from that Mel Gibson movie where they tell them hold, right? That Lionheart, when they're holding their bayonets and these guys are coming, you got to have that ability to hold. And hopefully once maybe your competitors might be selling it for a few pennies less, or maybe a few dollars less, but they're selling so fast they're about to be stock out, let them stock out. It might be very close to but then when you get the time to shine, you get all that flow in, that's when you're gonna boom explode. So instead of having a whole stretch of 30, 40, 50 days of consistent sales, you might you hold a little bit more, you get sales, but you hold your price, hold the price, and once the rest of the players out there are out, all of a sudden you're just gonna have that explosion. So I hope that makes sense. But of course, if you see that you're selling less than regular season, something is up. You should probably either fix your pricing because your competitors are going crazy, and because maybe they have oversupply over demand, where maybe they loaded up like crazy. Instead of stocking up 3x, they did 30x. Right? They invested a lot of resources. They realize they're gonna basically overbought, and they're gonna have a crazy amount of supply after the season. So they're killing it. They're just dropping it. So be on the lookout to what your friends are doing, your competitors are at the market. There's a lot of variables, and I can give you 101 examples, but just stay attentive. Keep your eyes and ears on your listings every single day, most of the day. You got to get some sleep, but if you have a good team that can have shifts, be on it like a stock trader that is not allowed to sleep for 40 days, just to make sure you really get the most out of the season.
Excellent. And one last question before we let you go. I'm selling socks and getting a 5% return rate. Is that about what I should expect for this category? I know you have a fashion apparel background. What do you think,
I
Yoni?
think that I would have been, from my experience, I would be very happy with 5%. We got over 15% easy. We sold shoes, we sold bras, we sold shirts, sold pants. So we got over 10 or 15% return rate. A lot of it. So I mean, it was standard. So if you're getting 5%, my gut feeling tells me that it's okay, it's good. The only caveat to that is that socks. What's the reason to return socks? The price point is comfortable, right? It's not like shoes where you can return it, you get maybe a different size, and usually the sizes are easy. That's why I would assume that's why socks are 5% as opposed to maybe shoes or other stuff where it's more 10 or 15% return rate. So yeah, off the bat, it's okay. It's not unusual or anything like that. If this is what it is, this is the price of doing business. Know how much it's costing you. But there's this 5%. There's the cost involved because you shipped your product to the consumer. You paid a pick and pack fees. When Amazon got the units back, you paid twice. You paid a return fee and a restocking fee. Okay, so make sure you can calculate those costs and embed it into your pricing. So if you see that it's killing your margin by a lot, you might have to increase your price a little bit to make up for it. But if you're that 5%, you're good. Your profit is good. Your profit is clean. You're comfortable with it, or you have even room to lower your profit, to lower your price a little bit, and hopefully generate more sales and generate more profit. Always keep in mind with pricing is that whether you keep your profits up or down, the mission is not to have to have more sales and same profit, is to have more profit, because you're all working for profit. So if you lower your price and you sell more, because of that you make bottom line more profit, or maybe in percentages less, but more. Instead of making $100, you're making $120. Do it. If you're raising your prices, you sell less quantity, but you're making the same amount of profit or even more profit. Do it. It's a little tricky to understand, but that's kind of how the mathematics works when it comes to pricing.
Excellent. So thank you. I think on that note, that could be the top takeaway for today, right? Really focus on profits at the end of the day. Don't just go for that 7-figure seller badge. Really at the end of the day, you need profits. That's what, that's the lifeblood of the business to keep everything going, right?
Yeah, I'll finish
Anything
out with
else?
this.
Yeah.
I'll finish out with this. You can invest $10 million buying inventory, $10 million, and offer it for $1 million on Amazon, and you'll become a 7-figure seller summit. So you're going to become a 7-figure seller, but you're going to be losing like $9 million. So it's not about really making the 7 figures. It's really about knowing how to make profit out of those 7 figures. That's really where the key is.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Yoni, for this super valuable training on profitability. Q4 Easy says thank you for this wealth of information, and I really appreciate all of your questions, everybody. Definitely, I highly recommend, if you haven't already, check out Gettier. They prepared a special offer. If you haven't gotten your Amazon reimbursements yet, I mean, basically you're just leaving money on the table, Jeff Bezos' table. He doesn't need any more money. You probably need it more than him.
He just sold $10 billion worth of stock, 10 billion cash liquid in his pocket. At least we can get you $400. I hope that helps.
At least you can try to get the 400 back for free, no fees, right? So definitely check it out. online.gettia.com/7FSS to get that. And then they also prepared the bonus ebook, How to Read an Amazon Income Statement. The link is also below in the show notes. So thank you for that. AJ says thank you, much appreciated. Guys, if this is helpful, could you please do me a favor? Can you hit the thumbs up button or the like button, or also hit subscribe? That would help us a lot. We're trying to grow so we can help even more people. So I would highly appreciate that. All right. And JR Borgify says, thanks, guys. All right. Much appreciated, everybody. We're out of time. So thank you again for watching. Much appreciated, Yoni. Hopefully everyone can increase their profitability and crush it this Q4. But also don't forget about Chinese New Year. Place those orders so you don't miss the boat. All right. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you at the next session.
Best of luck.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.